My name is Sylvia Michels. I am 18 years old and a senior at Zimmerman High School. This is my speech audition tape. This second piece that I am performing is a piece that I cut myself while competing in the prose category. It is called The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plaths, and I will start out with a teaser, then move into my intro, followed by the rest of the piece. Hope you enjoy. As if he didn't believe it. So I told him again, only angrier this time, because he seemed slow to understand how I hadn't slept for 14 nights, or how I couldn't read or write or swallow. No, Dr. Gordon seemed unimpressed. Dr. Gordon was fitting 2 metal plates on either side of my head, and he gave me a wire to bite. Imagine being trapped under a glass jar, able to see all the life around you while your brain dies due to the lack of oxygen. Esther Greenwood is losing her sanity, and in the 1950s, shock treatments were believed to have helped mentally ill patients. Keeping that in mind, how could Esther have known if she had a good doctor? The only difference between Esther and the author who created her is that Sylvia Plaths did commit suicide. Esther escaped. The Bell Jar by Sylvia Plaths. Call him up. Tell him I'm not coming next week. I knew my baby wasn't like that. I knew you'd decide to be all right again. If I had the whole say, I'd be dead in a flash. My case was incurable. I had bought a few paperbacks on abnormal psychology so that I could learn all I needed to know about my case to end it in the proper way. I wondered if I shouldn't just turn myself over to the doctors, but then I remembered Dr. Gordon and his private shock machine. Once I was locked up, they could use that on me all the time, and I thought about how my mother and friends would visit me day after day, hoping that I would be better. Their visits would slacken off. They'd give up hope. I'd get moved to one of those state hospitals with hundreds of people like me. In a cage. In the basement. And the more hopeless they were, the further away they hid you. Esther, I wish you would cooperate. They say you don't cooperate. They say you won't talk to any of the doctors or make anything an occupational therapy. I want to tell her that if only something were wrong with my body, it would be fine. I would rather have anything wrong with my body than something wrong with my head. I'm Dr. Nolan. So, tell me about Dr. Gordon. Did you like him? Well, I thought that the doctors must all be in it together. And that somewhere in this hospital there's a machine like Dr. Gordon's ready to jolt me out of my skin. No, I didn't like him. I told her about the machine and about the jolting and the noise. She went very still. It is not supposed to be like that. When done properly, it's like falling asleep. You won't have any shock treatments here, or if you do, I will warn you about them ahead of time. But it won't be anything like what you had before. In fact, some people like them. That afternoon, I mother brought me roses. I dumped the roses in the wastebasket. It was a silly thing for her to do! Dr. Nolan seemed to know what I meant. I hate her. Dr. Nolan smiled, as if something I had done pleased her very, very much. I'm sure you do. There's been a mistake. The new nurse forgot to bring me my breakfast tray today. Name? Esther Greenwood. No breakfast today. There must be a mistake. Are you sure? You will be getting your breakfast, but later this morning. I strode blindly into the hallway, not to my room. That's where they would come to get me. To a corner. I curled up underneath a blanket. It wasn't the shock treatment that struck me so much as Dr. Nolan. I liked Dr. Nolan, loved her, told her everything, and she promised faithfully to warn me if I ever had to have another shock treatment. Oh, the nurse disappeared, but I knew she would be back. Two big, burly men, and they were barely howling and hitting past the smiling audience now gathered in the lounge. Dr. Nolan put her arm around me. Like a mother. You said you'd tell me! But Esther, I am telling you. I've come especially early to tell you. Well, why didn't you tell me last night? I only thought it would keep you awake. If I had known. You said you'd tell me! Esther, listen. I'm going over there with you now, and I will be there the whole time to make sure everything happens right, the way I promised. And I will be there when you wake up. Promise you'll be there. I promise. I could see the high white bed again, and the masked person standing behind the machine. Talk to me! Esther, you're going to be perfectly all right. You aren't going to feel a thing. Just bite down. She placed something under my tongue, and in panic I bit down. Darkness wiped me out. I woke out of a drenched sleep. And the first thing I saw, that was Dr. Nolan's face. In that bell jar, it hung suspended a few feet above my head. I was open to